These card readings are for your entertainment and are laced with my personal opinions and perspectives. I'm not qualified to offer medical or legal advice. Seek professionals for legal, mental, or physical health needs, and know that while cards can give you major insights, ultimately, your moves are yours to make. Hello and welcome to the Get Read podcast, the show where you ask a question of the cards and you get read. I'm your reader, Andy, and we are here at the Capricorn New Moon. This is the whole new start of a cycle for the moon, but also for all of us because we're at the turn of the year on the eve of Christmas and right about to celebrate 2023. The winter shift readings have dropped for all signs. In case you did not know, I do these readings for the zodiac signs for free on YouTube every season to show the shape we are shifting out of, the shape we are shifting into, and what that shape shift looks and feels like. So the first 15 minutes of those readings, which is a good chunk, are free on YouTube to all. So I hope you go over there to the Unseen Hands Tarot YouTube channel and check them out. You can also go to my website, unseenhandstarot.com. They are right there. Of course, if these readings are resonating with you and you would like to shift through the season in a supportive community space of people who are investigating these shift readings and sharing insights along the way, the shifting space is a space where you can access the full readings and all of the perks and benefits of being part of that community sharing, insight, investigation process. If that sounds like something you're into, click the link in the description of this video cast, or you can go to unseenhandstarot.com/join. That's it. And you can learn about the shifting space. So we have some questions for the cards today here at the start of the winter season here in the Northern Hemisphere. We are using the Golden Tarot, I should mention. Very, a lot of Christian Christmas imagery, angelic. It's thematic, so let's go with it. First question.
Hi, Andy. Thanks so much for taking my call. I am, before I forget, a Pisces sun, Aries rising, Scorpio moon. And my question for the cards is about my job, my vocation. I am leaving my steady corporate job that I've had for about 7 years, and I'm deciding to go off on my own. And I have some hesitation. I just feel kind of lost about it. I'm hesitating about moving forward and jumping right in. And I guess my vague question for the cards is, is that hesitation normal? Maybe just some clarity around what my next steps should be. Should I wait? Should I take some rest? Should I jump right in? Should I pivot? I feel just kind of lost. I know I don't want to be here in corporate world, but I really am not sure what to do next. Maybe I am, and I just need to trust it. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Thank you for sharing. Let's just jump right in and see what the cards have for you. Wow. King of Wands is a really powerful energy to get with this question. We see this king sitting on a throne surrounded by, it looks like in the background there's this blazing hearth fire, which speaks to me of like a lot of drive, a lot of motivation, a lot of gumption, like really, really bold. This king has their hand on their heart, kind of looking, eyes gazing upward. perhaps seeking wisdom, inspiration. The hand on the heart really feels like you're moving from your gut, from what you are feeling, from the genuine like level of drive and motivation that is moving within you. It's a card of bold moves and more specifically, like the qualities and characteristics a person needs to embody to make some leadership decisions, to take initiative in their life. It's absolutely a card of going off on your own and blazing your own path and doing your own thing. Okay, more cards. So I think this King of Wands is really just like validating where you are and how you're feeling. Great. Because then we have the hanged one. This energy of suspension. Because there is, while the King of Wands is surrounded by all of this like really action-oriented, motivated, bold energy, there also seem to be having a little bit of hesitancy in this card because the hand is on the heart, the gaze is upward. There's this sense of like, is my motivation correct? Is this the right thing? And I just keep thinking of Mars. And Mars is currently retrograde in Gemini, has been retrograde in Gemini since the end of October. And a retrograde Mars is a Mars that is revising or reevaluating the pace, reconsidering the motivation and the initiative and the actions that want to be taken. It can be a really confusing time here in Gemini because it's this sense of like major, almost like urgency and initiative and like, I should do this now. But you're feeling that way about so many different things that you can end up feeling sort of scattered and unfocused. And then there's also somehow this energy, because Mars is retrograde, of like pumping the brakes. So there's this like gas brake thing that we are all navigating with Mars being retrograde until January 12th. Then it stations direct and begins to move at Mars's regular pace, which is, oh wow, suddenly the motivation, the energy, the drive, and the focus maybe is returning. And so the card of suspension and this King of Wands just really seeking a little bit of direction here and trying to make sure that they're feeling things correctly. I would say if you are feeling an energy of suspension or not really being sure, or things being not totally clear because this person is hanging upside down, which tells me the blood needs to kind of rush to the head in order for like clarity or realization to pop out. But in the meantime, there's a sense of limbo. I'm just sort of feeling like, let the holidays pass through, let the new year happen, and then see where you land on the other side of things. Queen of Coins. This particular Queen of Coins has a ton of discernment and scrutiny in her face. Like, she looks pretty judgy in this card. But in this particular situation, maybe that's in a good way. Like, maybe you are really needing to make sure that your judgment calls right now are coming from a place that is grounded, that is focused on security, and like, you know, that you're making good choices. And that's exactly what you expressed to me. Like, am I doing the right thing? Do I need to slow down? Basically, the cards are really just validating where you are, and they are saying it's okay to wait, especially with Mars retrograde. You don't need to make any really, really big moves right now. Mars will continue to be in Gemini until, I forget, early spring sometime, May, maybe. Off the top of my head. Mars is going to be in Gemini for a long time. If you are an Aries rising, you said, that means that Mars is in your third house, whole sign house of like communication and just the ways that you are thinking and focus what you are, the tasks that you are able to focus on, and the errands you're able to do, and the things you're able to check off your list. The like, I don't know, something just tells me that if you are feeling unclear while Mars is still retrograde, that makes sense. And the cards are also saying that makes sense. So maybe you want to chill until you have the clarity of the Queen of Coins, which is, okay, I'm seeing things really clearly now. She even has that like gold halo around her head, which speaks to me of that illumination, the blood rushing to the head and popping out in this clarity, this illumination. She looks like she is seeing things clearly. She's the Queen of Coins, which is Earth. So her feet are on the ground. She's making really smart decisions, both like this, you know, if we look at all three cards together, you've got the Hanged One in between, this like bold motivation and drive to make decisions from the heart and to just like go for it and make really bold moves. And then over here, we've got this like really grounded energy of taking care of business and making sure you're making decisions from a place that's actually like caring for you and not moving faster than you need to, or moving like beyond where your energy actually is. The Queen of Coins wants you to make sure you're taking care of yourself, but also like handling your business, you know, and like making sure you've got a safety net, making sure you've got a foundation that you are shifting onto if you are leaving a firm foundation that has held you. You know, like, do you have that nest egg or that like net or whatever to carry you through that transition? Is something that I feel like the Queen of Coins, that kind of discernment and decision-making type judgment calls are coming through in her vibe. Two of Wands on the bottom of the deck, really reiterating that there is an opening. There is an opening at this point of the year for you to make a different choice, for you to walk, like step through a threshold and make, again, a really bold move. To me, the King of Wands wants to make these kinds of choices. Two of Wands wants to step forward where they've never gone before and do something kind of wild for them. And there could be a lot of victory in that if it's done wisely, smartly, with security in mind, with stability in mind, because those are the things the Queen of Coins is concerned about. So essentially, as you are in this like limbo transitional suspension space, just make sure that you allow both energies, the King of Wands and the Queen of Coins, to be part of your decision-making process. This is just sensible advice, you know? Making bold moves sensibly is how I would summarize this spread. Absolutely. Queen of Swords confirming that level of discernment. And this also makes me, I just did this, which is an action, a gesture that I kept doing in the winter shift reading for Scorpio that just dropped. And you said you have a Scorpio moon. So it's interesting that I'm doing this. I think it's literally in the thumbnail image, me going like this, and it's that reading is called Adjustment. Okay, so go find that reading on YouTube, maybe watch it. It might be something important for your moon. To think about, that reading talked a lot about like the scales of justice and balance and like what that hinges on. And it all hinges on truth. Truth is like the fulcrum point for adjustments that we are constantly making in our lives. So sounds like you are on the verge potentially of making a very big adjustment. And it's important that that adjustment is made within full truth. You know, like full clarity. So again, if you are in this Hanged One, like Neptunian, a little bit confused, a little bit unsure, a little bit foggy energy, wait until you have that like T, capital T, truth, clarity, so that your decisions that you are weighing up can hinge on a very clear fulcrum. Making bold moves sensibly. Okay, I like that. That's great. Happy New Year, happy holidays. Next question.
Hi, hello, happy solstice, happy new moon. Coming to you with a question for the cards. I've been carrying around this guilt in response to like my upbringing, my family dynamic, and like in my mind I know that like the distance is important, the boundary is essential, but I still feel bad about not caring more. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels this way around this time of year, specifically to do with family. So I was wondering what to do with that. Is there a way for that to be useful? Is there a way to let it go? Is there a way to make peace with it? Thank you.
Yeah, good question. And like you said, something that a lot of people are thinking about right now. Okay, let's see about it. The guilt of having boundaries with family, especially around the holidays. Seven of Cups is so many feelings and thoughts, and it's all true, and it's all there, and it's all floating around. Or is it all true? You know? Five of Swords. Yeah. The Hierophant keeps showing up for you with this question. It was showing up in the shuffle and I giggled a little, and here it is again. This like, you know, spiritual authority figure, papal type priest. Who looks like, you know, they're making a very kind of serious inquiry. Societal judgment is coming up in that card actually a little bit. Like societal scrutiny, what society deems as normal or good or correct. Feeling like eyes are on you in some way, which I think is often how people feel around Christmas. These obligations that we have, societal traditions that we are participating in, a very Hierophant energy actually. Societal customs and rituals that we have agreed to or are just sort of thrust into, whether we want to do them or not. And then there's just a lot of confusion around that with the Seven of Cups, all kinds of, you know, there's a different energy quality object in each cup. And I think it makes the instruction unclear because there are so many feelings. People feel very different ways. And there's a sense, especially with that, all of those things being held up on this curtain, that it's like it's emotionally veiled. Things are just really, there's so many thoughts and ideas on this all swirling around that it's really hard to suss a boundary in that murky space, emotionally speaking. And then there's this Five of Swords, you know, like this person that looks like they have a really intense guard dog here by their side, and they've like fought a battle maybe to defend themselves with others, and then the others are now like running away. Looks like they were, you know, this person is left holding all of the swords after the battle, looking victorious, but also maybe not looking as happy about it as they expected, which is maybe the guilt that you're feeling. you know, and when this card came out, I thought, like, is there a win-win here? Because there's definitely a lose-lose. And maybe that's like, okay, you don't go home to visit for the holidays, but then you spend the holidays, you know, with this really intense guilt, and there's sort of a lose-lose in that. Need to defend yourself, or like, again, with this guard dog, there is something about like guarding your space that is important, but there's a but in the guilt that you've expressed that I'm trying to get to the bottom of here. And then the Page of Wands is here. This is an energy that communicates creatively, and there might be something here about, oh wow, I'm noticing for the first time, the road that they're standing on looks like Saturn's rings. And I know who I'm speaking to. Happy birthday. Okay, you're a Capricorn. So there's that like Saturnian energy. The messenger here is standing on Saturn's rings. And then there's this figure in the back that's like going on a journey. Do you see that? And there's this message on a scroll. So I'm like, okay, what ways can you connect? Like maybe with the Seven of Cups and the Page of Wands, there's an opportunity here. Okay, if you needed to defend your space, that's fine. Like obviously everyone's family situations are different. Some of them are, you know, like not safe spaces or whatever that might be for you. And so it is important to hold your ground and to stand your ground, especially if you feel unsafe. And also there's this like opportunity to think outside the box a little bit. You know, I've been talking about this a lot lately in readings where like boundaries doesn't have to mean, like taking a sword and eviscerating something or someone, you know, like, sorry, that was really strong imagery, but like thinking about ways of enforcing boundaries that don't actually require force, you know, like how can you maintain a sense of meeting your own needs through the boundaries that you need to put in place without harm, you know, like is there like a way to take care of yourself without harming others? I don't know, again, like what's the win-win here? And then again with the Seven of Cups and the Page of Wands, there's an opportunity to think creatively, perhaps over distance. You know, so like maybe if you cannot be in person with your family, if it feels good to still want to connect with them in some way, get a little creative, think outside the box. Like how can you send a message over distance in a way that really reaches them and is really felt by both parties involved? You know, like is there still an opportunity to connect even if you here standing on Saturn's rings, Saturn speaking to me of sort of like isolation or separation and the guilt that Saturn can bring? Is there a way to approach this maybe just more creatively from a little bit of a lighter perspective, a little bit of, you know, because this heaviness, I'm just looking at this guard dog and the Five of Swords feels so intense to me. I guess like hold your boundaries and question the heaviness and intensity of them. Can you hold your boundaries and maintain a holiday spirit, or like maintain a spirit of lightness or a spirit of connection? And the answer might be no. It might not be safe to do that, you know? Like y'all, I don't know your family situations, but there's creativity here, and there seems to be a desire to connect in some way while maintaining your boundaries. And so maybe it's okay to go ahead and connect in the ways that do feel safe for you. Boundaries doesn't have to mean isolation unless it's a matter of safety or self-preservation or something like that. But boundaries can sometimes just mean, they don't always even have to mean distance. I guess what I'm asking is like a more nuanced read of maintaining safe space and a more nuanced, subtle understanding of boundary work. And finding that nuance through lightness, creativity, curiosity. Yeah, the sun on the bottom of the deck, exactly. Express yourself. Like if it's safe, how can you express yourself and express your heart and maintain a level of openness? Look at this baby, naked and wide open. Half naked. Interesting, half naked. So like clothed to the level of comfort, yet heart still open. Some parts of me are not for you to have great boundary work, but the rest of me can feel safe to open in this way so that we can still maintain connection. Again, take it if it resonates, but there's a lightening here, an illumination, a transparency, a warmth even. Page of Wands is fire. The sun is fire. There's even a bonfire in the background of that page card. Messages of warmth and openness. Yeah, boundaries doesn't have to mean cold and distant. How can you be warm and open and still maintain your safe space? That is the question in the cards for you this holiday season. Thanks for calling. Next.
Hi there, Aquarius Sun, Capricorn Moon, Scorpio Rising here. I've just had a year of kind of being in a rut. I had a relationship end a while back, and like 2 years ago, and I'm still not recovered from it. And there's just like no desire in me right now to try to improve things for myself. And yet, obviously, there is, since I'm asking about it. So, I don't know. I'm just wanting some guidance from the cards as to how I can find that spark again to have goals and like a path forward. So that's it. Thank you. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Great. Okay. Thanks for calling in. Oh, Six of Cups coming right out. Nice. Okay. So I was going to start by saying the same thing I said to the first caller about Mars being retrograde. Like, no wonder. I guess what I was going to say is be gentle on yourself, because Mars is retrograde. Mars, it symbolizes, holds, carries our sense of action, orientation, motivation, drive to, the spark, actually, I would say, like energy, life force. And being retrograde, I think like, would you say Scorpio rising? So is that your 8th house? Like really deep space, really intense, possibly like healing space, or like, it's let Mars do Mars's thing, and don't feel guilty about a lack of motivation that you're feeling at this time, especially as you're in this seasonal transition, this solstice time. This is the time for lack of motivation, frankly. Like, this is the time to totally pull in, do nothing, and feel your way towards a reset. And then I love that you got the Six of Cups here, because there's this like very gentle image of 2 young souls just like playing together, enjoying time together, sharing space together. There's one of them is just sort of reading, you know, like being in their own space. The other one seems a little more interested in interacting and playing, and they look a little like, actually, now that I'm looking at it, they have a little bit of a poopy face on about it. But this one over here feels like you. This is just like, I'm just in my space. I'm over here. I'm just reading. If you can be in the same room with me while we do that, and we can just like silently share space. Now that feels like Scorpio energy, that just like desire to be in the same room together doing our separate tasks is like, that's love, you know? So like find the people you can do that with. If anyone is sort of having these like more expectations than that of you right now, just be really clear about what you can and cannot do at this time. You are healing, you are recovering, you are moving through an emotional space that requires some tenderness and some gentleness. So if you've got folks in your life who can give to you at this time in the way that you need, then that's what we're leaning into here. The Six of Cups speaks to me of like a reconnection with self, a reconnection. Yeah, you're saying like, where's my spark? I would say just start with reconnecting with yourself. And that means meeting yourself where you actually are, not meeting yourself with a bunch of judgments about where you should be or where you think you should be, the kind of motivation you should have right now. No, it sounds to me like energetically, and given some of the birth information you've shared with me astrologically, you are right where you are supposed to be. If you are feeling lack of motivation, yes to that. Affirmed. So don't try to talk yourself out of that if you are actually maybe in the right space. Like, you know, total reframe here. Interesting Ace of Wands on the bottom of the deck. There's the spark you're looking for. There's the spark of life. There's the that pure essence of spirit, your fire again, igniting. But the ace again is the potential. It's the very beginning. It's that moment of friction where the match is struck and experiences combustion. It lights for the first time. And as you can see in this card, that can show up really, really wild. We have like a blazing fire in the background of this card, and there's an angel in the front. But you know what? It doesn't have to. It could be as small as just like a candle flame inside of you. And I'm saying that also because there's a candle here in the foreground. You know what's also interesting? I'm starting to get this story. See this young energy here that's just like reading a book? Check it out. It looks like from that book, something ignites. Because in the Ace of Wands, there's an open book on the floor. So it's almost like you're just in your own space. Maybe all you have motivation to do right now is just like read in a corner in bed by yourself. And that's totally correct, right? Like that's totally right. That's totally fine. And then here you are just honoring where you actually are and doing that kind of thing. And then, oh my gosh, you read something, you know, that makes you like drop the book. And suddenly you feel your spark again. So I guess what I'm saying is like, if you honor where you actually are, the spark, you are much more likely to feel the spark when it happens organically than if you are constantly in a battle with yourself through the whole thing. You're not actually gonna feel it when it hits, or give yourself the opportunity because you're too busy fighting with yourself. Fighting against yourself, against where you actually are. Maybe one more card for this. Eight of Coins, nice. I would say there's a figure with drive, with motivation, with the energy to create, to go do their craft, you know? So I feel like, again, you just gotta be super gentle with yourself and just be right where you are, you know? Like Six of Cups feels to me just like super sweet. Being so soft with yourself, and asking others to be soft with you right now and to just give you what you need, you know? Like, can we just be in this really just sort of like mushy space. Like, it's okay to be in that space, because I think something really actually motivating could come out of that. Because here's your spark back, Ace of Wands, and then there's the motivation to actually roll up your sleeves and get going, get crafting, start checking things off your to-do list. You know, like here we see a woodworker just like in their own space, again, still in their own space, but now like, oh yeah, I have a task to focus on. My hands are ready to be busy. But it comes maybe from something you are, when you're in a more passive state, as this person is, just like reading a book, taking in information, that's when the spark could hit. Capricorn Moon in the 3rd house, right? In the 3rd whole sign house, Scorpio rising. 3rd house is like, makes me think of reading a book, you know, just like passively educating yourself, just sort of like quietly reading, and then all of a sudden, boom, something happens, something excites you, a spark ignites. But again, like try not to, 9 of Swords coming in the shuffle a little bit here, like try not to make that the goal to the point where if it's not happening, it's keeping you up at night with like worries, fears, anxieties. Like the anxieties about where you actually are in your energy is stopping you from moving forward in the way you actually want to move forward. So chill, relax into it, get super, super, super soft, you know, like challenge yourself to see how much you can lean into this limbo and watch what comes out of it. Again, let Mars go direct, January 12th, you know? Okay. I hope that brings you peace. I hope this brings you all peace. Thank you for calling in this holiday New Year season, solstice. Yes, happy Capricorn season. Ugh, you know I love Capricorns. And thank you all for calling into the Get Read podcast. If you would like to ask a question of the cards and get read, looking forward to the Cancer full moon, where you'll be able to do that 2 weeks from now. So stay tuned. I announce it on Instagram at unseenhandstarot, so you can follow me there for updates. And go watch your winter shift readings, my friends. unseenhandstarot.com, and of course, Unseen Hands Tarot on YouTube. Happy solstice.